And a good day to you all. This is Not All There. I'm Chad. I have been up since 4 in the morning and am highly caffeinated. I'm actually doing this in the morning. It is 7:30 in the a.m. Central Time. And I'm really excited for the podcast that you're about to listen to. I am speaking with Dr. Harold Jonas, and he has an incredible story to tell. His sober, or excuse me, his addiction story is one for the books, man. And what he has done in recovery is nothing short of amazing. The dude's a real mensch. I was really excited to talk to him. He is incredibly enjoyable to speak with and funny, insightful, and he has just the best information to share regarding sobriety, what it means to him to be sober, and what sober life can truly be like. He, we had a little snafu at the end, so he was providing some information where you can find him, website addresses, email, and whatnot. And I accidentally cut him off. So you'll find that information in the description of the episode. There'll be some links for him where you can check him out. Whew. Okay, I'm sweating. I'm going to go take a shower now. All right, here's Dr. Harold Jonas. Welcome in. I am being joined by Dr. Harold Jonas today. Now we'll refer to him as Dr. J. I'm really excited to have him on today. Just so you're aware, I'm not sure when this is actually going to drop, but we are speaking the evening after the election. And it is an interesting environment, to say the least. And I did a lot of thinking today about how can we find a way to either cope or relate. And I started thinking about my journey to sobriety. I got sober through AA. It's not for everybody, but it worked for me. And I remember going to my first AA meeting, and I was very scared. I was very afraid. I didn't know what to think of. I was in a lot of pain. I was desperate. I was pissed off. And I went into this room, and it was full of a lot of fucked up people just like me. But we were from all walks of life. And we had one thing in common, and that was to stay sober. And through that, my life has been exponentially different and better and exciting. So maybe just think about that. Anybody that's suffering a little bit, a little angry, let's be kind, let's be loving. Lend a helping hand, all right? Okay, on to the interview with Dr. J. Thanks again, Doc, for being with us today.
Thank you for the invite. Appreciate it.
So tell me, what happened to you? Where did it all begin?
So once upon a time, this is the story I got. I was kicking and screaming into the world with the umbilical cord wrapped around my neck. Now, there may have been some rumor of being a breech child as well. Hard to tell because I was there, but not really.
Yeah.
But this is all storytelling, and it comes from a 93-year-old woman called Mom, who's still with us.
Still going.
Still going, and God bless her, that she's actively doing her yoga and her water aerobics daily, and
Damn.
and still happening, and that's a story that may or may not get weaved here. I got to have to weave. I can do the weave tonight.
There we go. No.
Weaving. Start right off, running down.
Here we go, babe. Here comes the weave.
I cut the cord, but I've learned now through all the therapy that I've encountered on every level, and I say that judiciously, as a client, as a patient, as a professional, that this suffocation, birth, and stuff has carried with me all the way through my lifespan. So I still have this feeling of being fear, a terrible fear of drowning, right? Of having the life taken from me like that, or being boxed in the corner, or smothered, or by relationships, and somebody say, "Oh, I love you. Let me just control you. I love you. Where you're going, and oh, by the way, what's her name? All of that stuff." I was like, no. So I run. I cut bait and run. Right. That's what I do until I learned what was going on, and now I have that sense of self where I'm okay with it and understand it, and I'm able to really handle it differently. So I was born into a family of active addicts. Dad. The depression baby, the his family got very little except the opportunity to stand in line for food. Self-made man, ninth grade education, uh, literally fell into a pile of shit. And I say that with a tongue in cheek because he was in the waste removal business. So we moved sewage from the overflows of the water waste treatment plants when they were figuring out what to do with this stuff into landfills. So we really move shit for a living. And my mother got a bracelet made out of diamonds because there was so much money and shit, and it said shit right on that. On yeah, I said, what is that? Because she was really into this attention-seeking stuff. So that's again part of the weave. So here's this family. He drinks on a regular basis to cope with the fact that he really didn't want to have a wife and or children. And
Mm-hmm.
here we are because he made a bed and he slept in it because that's
Mm-hmm.
what the right thing was to do. Um, and drank his way through it. Pretty sure he had a second family somewhere that he really had passion for.
Mm.
Yeah, that's a great story. A little footnote there to add. Um, so uh, everybody's drinking, smoking cigarettes. This is the 50s and the 60s. Mad Men prevails as a way. A good dad is a good provider. Good father is a good provider. That's all their job was.
Yep.
They may or may not show up for dinner. It didn't matter as long as they provided, and that made them a good person. So that's what I grew up with. Only son with an older sister and then a younger one. Um, and I'm a middle child and an only son to a nice Jewish family who didn't practice Judaism except on the high holidays. We're called high holiday Jews. But
Mm-hmm.
yet, if I became a rabbi, my mother would love me more. So I really was attention seeking, and because there was so much tension in the house,
Yeah,
tension
I
all
can
the time
relate.
because he
I can
wasn't didn't
relate.
want to be there. It was like we were shown the door at like 6 because if we were
Mm.
unhappy, it's like you don't like it here. Here's the door because that's what they told him. So it was like
Yep.
that's the norm. That's the parenting style. Don't let
Yep.
the door hit you in the ass on the way out. I mean, that's how much love there was, and so she was able to tolerate it because she built a wall for herself with crossword puzzles, and that's what yeah, that's what she did. What are those things called?
Yeah,
All day
crosswords or Sudoku or yeah, yeah, yeah,
Wordle. They didn't have any of that in the 60s. So she
yeah.
sat there with the newspaper and would get them done every day. New York Times. A really, really smart woman who was underperforming throughout her lifespan. But she was trapped in this thing with 3 kids and no clue on how to get out and stay out. So she tolerated the abuse. And I think on
Mm.
occasion it would get physical, but it was out of sight. But it was in the child's mind, in the trauma mind that I learned, it was definitely, the
It was
crashing,
there.
burning, it was there.
You
Because
knew
I
it.
grew up in a row house, Philadelphia, and they have a vent that goes up and down through the
You
house.
could hear it.
You could hear people, uh, everything. Let's just say that. I mean, we just met, so I won't talk about the sex. I won't talk about the bowel movement. I won't talk about but that was just a nice way of saying shit again. Because there's one bathroom. There's 5 people, one bathroom.
Oh my God.
Great privacy is like what?
Yeah. Yeah.
And each of us had our own room because I lived in the garage, converted garage. So I had like a private domain. I was excommunicated to the basement. The garage was a bedroom, and I lived there and had lots of alone time and freedom to do all kinds of things. So that's the childhood of drinking. And so when they gave us highballs for Thanksgiving and special occasions like New Year's Eve, here's a drink, right? And he would take a VO and soda and VO and cherry juice and, those maraschino cherries.
Yeah. VO.
Hated it. I hated it. He said, "Oh, drink it. It'll make a man out of you." I'm like, "No, I don't like it. It smells bad. That makes it." My sister would drink it. My older sister would drink hers and drink mine. And so when pot was introduced, I'm like, I'm living large now. I finally joined the family. I found the drug that I could be a part of. And so I'm smoking cigarettes, smoking pot at 12. So what we've learned, of course, is our development stops right around the
Right.
time we start using. So I
Yep.
lived it. I lived chronologically somehow to be 32 with active addiction, but I'm still like, well, they told me really I was still in when they got their hands on me in the treatment centers, right? They said, yeah, well, you didn't get out of freaking plastic pants, bro.
Yeah.
You didn't even
Yeah.
get Pampers. You didn't even make Pampers.
Oh man.
You're still got pins in your ass from the diapers. That's how immature you are. And I'm like,
Ah.
what? What?
Yeah.
No. Here's the door. Here's the door. Get me out of here. So that's how that journey started. But growing up with addiction, lots of color there with the horrors of my active addiction. That if it's told in a way that is not so tragic, it could look like a Netflix movie. It's that kind of thing.
Hmm.
It really is. I mean, there's some blips in this radar that you're like, no fucking way, you're still here. Right?
Oh,
So
I don't know how I'm sitting here talking to you, man. I'm a lucky one. I have no idea how I made it out.
I'm on a coke run. This I'm like, cubic zirconia is just. I got a basket full of this stuff. I got the line on zirconia because nobody had anything but Wellington jewels, and I'm repping this stuff, and I'm running around trying to make a
Were
deal.
you, were you trading it for Coke?
No, well, no. I had I had a Halliburton case, which I still own. Right, that silver bag that everybody made famous on Miami Vice.
Miami
I still
Vice.
have mine, right? So I've got one of these things full of these things that are definitely simulated diamonds. I'm telling you, these are not. These are genuine simulated diamonds. That's the hook. Did you hear me? Genuine simulated. They hear diamonds. That was it. I'm going to shoot you. Get out of here because you're trying to rob me. I said no. I'm trying to tell you what I'm so. So I'm in the middle of the dance floor in the lower Manhattan. I'm out of money. I don't have enough money to rent the roller skates. It's a roller. It's a pop-up roller disco, and it's 2 o'clock in the morning. And I'm in the middle of this giant circle of people going around on their roller skates, right? And they pop up with bars, and everybody's doing coke and quaaludes, and it's just a rock scene out of control. And I catch the eye of this woman, and she keeps going around and catching my eye. And maybe within an hour, I'm in her apartment, and that's the way things were going. Right, this is the
Right,
same.
man. That's how
Yeah.
it goes.
5 days later, we're on an airplane on her Mastercard because I've talked her into marrying me. I'm out on bond, and I'm saying to myself,
Oh no.
if I have a wife, they won't put
They
me in
won't
jail.
put me back.
They'll let me go. They'll say, well, you have to support your wife. And that's my like addictive logic. That's the peak of it, right? That's
That
the
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Where did you fly to? Were you trying to get out of the
Vegas.
country?
We went to Vegas. We got
Oh, oh for Mary.
we went from Manhattan to Vegas and got married. And woke up and went to our free breakfast from the Chapel of Love because you got a coupon.
Yeah, of
Right?
course. Yeah, of course.
And wait,
A Polaroid and a coupon.
better yet, we run into her uncle. One of our family members is in Vegas. What the fuck? What are the chance, right? And he says, "Oh my God, what are you doing here?" And I'm like, "Who's this guy?" Right? Oh, it's my mother's brother. It's my uncle. And he says, "Here's the keys to my house in Long Beach. Go and there." And so we take this trek across the mountains in a rental car, and I think all kinds of escapades of car, and somehow we survive this without killing each other. And because I'm running coke, turns out that she's on a manic episode. Bipolar wasn't invented yet.
Oh
She's truly manic, and I
no.
am I am sent by God because she was into religious preoccupation. That was her thing, right? And I was sent by God, and that's why we're meant to be. We're meant to be. And we go back to Manhattan, and we're living checked up in her apartment, and her three, one, two, three, four. She's the oldest of eight.
Oh no.
Her four very big brothers who come from a nice Roman Catholic family come knocking on the door and try to expect me to pack up and leave. And I'm like, I'm not leaving my wife. This is my wife. I'm not leaving my wife. Get out of here. And they're like, well, if you don't, we're going to help you. And I'm like, I'm like frozen in fear. I'm terrified.
Oh
I'm
no.
not that guy. I'm not that guy. I said, okay, I'll leave. I swear to God, I'll leave. And so they went down the street and watched me leave. And I figured that was the end of it, right? They're going to get an annulment because they knew how crazy she's literally
Yeah,
documenting crazy.
yeah.
I just thought she loved me because I was a lost little boy. She's 31 years old. I'm 24.
Oh God.
A match made in heaven.
Oh God.
I kid you not. So now, fast forward, 3 kids later, we're still married, right? 3 kids later. Well, when she's pregnant with the third one, I like had enough. I said, I'm not trying to help you catch up to your mom. we're a little late to the party. I think it's time that we kind of pull a cord on this. So we separate after like tons of crazy shit, our own nonsense
And your
together.
addiction is just like on
Oh, out of
fire,
control.
out of control.
I
Yeah.
go from pot and cocaine and casual daily use to injecting heroin for the nonsense and coping and dilaudid really because it was. I mean,
Oof.
I'm not an addict. I'm
Oof.
using pharmaceuticals. I'm not. I mean,
No, no,
I'm
they
not an addict.
they give this to people to make them, it's for pain. They feel
Yeah,
better.
yeah, and I have
Yeah.
plenty of pain, right? I
Yeah.
got plenty of pain. Look at
Right
my.
here. Right
I'm,
here.
I'm married. I'm a total. I'm a carbon copy victim here, and now I've got two small children and a lunatic wife who goes in and out of like reality. Is breastfeeding both children and gets psychotic, winds up in a hospital. I'm living with constant anxiety about her caretaking. I'm trying to run a business. I'm doing the best I can with very limited skill sets and an active
Yeah.
addiction. And no, there's no argument that I'm a drug addict. I mean, at this point, I'm selling drugs to pay the bills because
Is that your
that's a
business? Was just
well. I know I
selling
opened a sandwich shop. I had a sandwich shop because then people could get the drugs in the sandwich.
the
Right?
back? Oh shit.
It was the best cover ever. It was the best, right? I'm delivering. I've got a good thing going.
Oh
I'm
my
like,
god. In
yeah,
the
yeah.
cold cuts.
This is South Jersey, where the king of Hoagie Land. And I have
Hmm.
this persona I've created called Harry's Hoagies, and I'm running wild. And it's my third business already. I'm 28 years old. I'm into my third business. Was the message I grew up with, like my father: if you're not in business, you're a fucking loser. If you
Right.
work for somebody, you're not just a loser. You're a fucking loser. And then you're going to get disowned. I'd rather have an alternative lifestyle son because they never used the word gay because that was fine. You could be gay, but you can't work for somebody. You had to be enterprising. You had to be entrepreneurial. You had to figure it out. Because I did, therefore you should. That was the messaging. So I had been going and trying in business since I got caught selling drugs at 14. Always something, always something, always something until right the zirconia. Before that, it
Yeah.
was that, and now I'm selling sandwiches, and people want food. Then they want the dessert. So that's the way that went until it didn't. And then I shot up all the money from the equipment because she wound up disappearing into the atmosphere of the Twilight Zone.
Oh
And
man.
I didn't know if she was coming back because that's the way it would go. Because she
Yeah.
was really, really struggled with not being compliant with meds. And I'm overwhelmed and just wandering around until I wind up living on the street. I wound up not caring and just they took the kids away from me custody wise because I'm a drug addict and my mother who I happened to mention casually earlier contributed to that because I'm a drug addict. Her son's a drug addict. That's not a good look. Let's give the children who need a stable environment to a fucking lunatic mom. And she got her a lawyer and made that happen. And then I got my gun. And then it wasn't there. Somehow she had gotten the gun out of my possession while I was in court. And I'm like, God, she's good. She's really good. Because she knew
Y-
I was just gonna shoot her.
Yeah. 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 She knew. He's not going to shoot himself or anyone else. That's for me. That's for
Now,
me and me alone.
it's really hard to shoot yourself with a shotgun. I mean,
Oh, well, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
you
It
got to
doesn't
be
usually work out too well.
really wanting to die to figure that out.
So
So
you're what, like 28, 29, living on the street?
living it, and then it's just a deterioration to where I went from a nice suburban, living. No, I can't say that. I mean, I was figuring it out and figuring it out, and just gave up and deteriorated to multiple episodes of arrest for petty crimes to support a habit. In and detox, out of detox, 1985, and my using buddy from childhood, high school, we used together. He somehow got through med school, right? Shows up and says, "Look, I got a place. Let's," because they kept intervening on him as a physician, and they sent him to treatment, and then he went to meetings, right? He says, "Meet me at this address, and we'll go together," right? Okay, because I trusted very few.
Yeah.
I go there, he doesn't show up because he fucking relapsed again, right? So I'm in this church basement, and introduced to NA. I got on a methadone clinic for the first time. I think I'm living long. I didn't
Yeah.
shoot dope today. I'm doing great. So they said, "Does anybody have anything to say?" I said, "Yeah, I'm doing great. I didn't shoot dope today. I just got on methadone." They said, "You know what? Come back when you're drug free and shut the fuck up."
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, 1985.
Oh,
I was
wow.
devastated. I never
Well,
went back.
because that's the shit you grew up with.
Right, 2 years later, it took until I wound up fighting my way back into a pathway of change and growth and development and treatment and professional help and guidance in life. But it was an ugly 2 year decline from having a place to live that was indoors to living on a cardboard box outdoors. Because that message, and it happened to be an NA group.
Hmm.
And I went there, and that's what they told me. And of course, that's taken. I got off a plane in 1987 in West Palm Beach, and have never looked back. And went to a treatment center and another treatment center, another treatment center, and have stayed drug free since then. And
That's
that
great.
messaging of don't come back till you're free has evolved and finally changed. And people claim to be open minded.
Yeah.
This is open minded because harm reduction is the new normal,
Hmm.
and that's what it is, whether we like it or not. That's here to stay,
Yep.
and I've been about that since that very day. I mean, I didn't particularly like methadone, but it saved my life that day.
Yeah.
I never got HIV. I never wound up
You were
sharing.
lucky, man.
Oh my,
Jesus.
oh, and I did some rancid things.
I don't know how
Right?
that. Yeah, I don't know how you dodged that one.
There's this thing around me that kept me from getting that. Um,
Yep.
my running buddy, she had a big um,
Like an abscess kind of thing.
on her neck.
Ah.
All the other veins are done. You know,
Oh,
and at one
God.
time she was this petite, beautiful little blonde, and then
Oh,
she
man.
became a stick figure with some remnants of tits because there was nothing left to her when I left her at the top of the stairs when I got on the train to go to Florida. And she I still talk to her. She still pops up in my life. She's still on freaking methadone because I helped her.
Oh,
She's still, now she's as big as a house for methadone because you
yeah.
can't put shit on
Yeah.
that stuff. So
Yeah.
she's literally full of shit and weighs a good 200 pounds. Um, but she's not dead. She's not
She's not
dead.
dead.
She
She's
somehow made
not dead. What
she,
got you on that train, man? What
uh,
what was it?
the methadone counselor. When I
Okay.
went to the clinic that morning, I showed them a letter my father written me. Well, the girlfriend he had. Somebody wrote me a letter and invited me to come to Florida and go to treatment.
Hmm.
And because they had been tracking me down, my father tracked me down after a 5 year absence. He had run off to Never Land and reappeared and found me through my now ex. Well, she was alive at the time. She's deceased now. My first wife.
I'm sorry.
Um, her bipolar illness would not let her acknowledge that she had gotten diagnosed with breast cancer. She's
Oh,
like, I'm going to take this other stuff and I'm going to do this because I don't want cancer, so therefore I don't have it. That
right.
diagnosis denial that works.
Yeah.
There,
Denial, delusion
there's a woman
solves the
on the
problem.
right just a month ago during Breast Cancer Awareness Month. She denied having it and denied it until they fucking told her she was going to die. And it was too late now. She's a stage 4 breast cancer. So, and one of those popular celebrity people that decided to take matters into her own hand. And anyway, that's
Mm.
part of this journey where we stayed connected, my first wife and I, because of the children. When
Hmm.
I got my head out of my ass in recovery in '87, um, she let me visit. She let me get visitation rights. She had sent them to Florida to visit. And so part of this story is I'm in early recovery, maybe 5 months clean. I go to a meeting, and there's a speaker,
Yeah.
and she's hot.
Uh
She's
oh.
she's
Uh
and
oh.
she's just sending me. She's talking to me.
Of course
She's
she is.
talking to me. She's that way.
Oh, she's here for me. She speak. Oh, this is
I'm
right to me.
wait, I'm counting the minutes till it's over, so I
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
be up there. And sure enough, I go up there, and I'm with my cousin, who somehow followed me to Florida, and
Uh-huh.
we're both at the meeting, and he says, "Hey, Jonas, come on, it's time to go." And she says, "Wait, stop, Well, I know you. I'm like, what do I'm just looking at this package.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm like, how do I do this? Because I'm new. I don't know how to do this. I've never done any of this without drugs. Anything. I've never talked to a girl without drugs. I've started using at
Yeah, you're a
12.
12-year-old.
That's right. And so I'm kicking rocks, and she says, "Stop! I know you." And I said, well, "How could that be?" She says, "Is your name Harold Jonas?" I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Well, we went to summer camp together." But you're the first boy. You're the first boy I ever kissed. I'm like, out there. You're the one. I think
Oh,
yeah, right. You can hear
yeah,
it. You can hear it coming
yeah.
down. You can hear it, and you can hear, and she's single, no dependents. She's
Oh
got the
my.
clock going.
Uh-huh.
Uh huh.
How much time did she have at that point? What, 6 months, 7 months?
No, she's
She
got a
had a
year
year
and a
and a
half.
half. Okay, okay,
It's
a
going
year and a
to take her
half.
5 more years to get out of denial that she 13 stepped me because she tracked me down like a dog. Because not I was bunkmates with her brother, right? So this
Yeah,
was a fact. We were
yeah.
Philadelphia kids. We went to this overnight camp that the parents sent their kids to get out of the hair for the summer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She's 2 years younger than me, and she's primed and ready to go. She's like, she's like, okay, baby time. It's baby time.
Oh
And I'm
no.
like, no, you don't understand. I got dreams that I just woke up. I just got in recovery. It says right in the book. It says right in the book, right? Lost dreams awaken. I got one of those. I'm going to grad school because I turned my back on that in my 20s. I didn't do that. I didn't follow my passion, and I didn't do that. And I'm doing it. I'm doing it no matter what. And if you can deal with that, then okay, we can get married. She said, well, if we're getting married, we're having a kid. I said, but I already have like 3 kids. I'm not like really anxious to bring more life into the world when I haven't really paid for the ones I have. I'm
Mm.
like, I don't know, 50 grand behind. I'm a little bit like financially like stressed and I'm working for minimum wage at
It's
a
what we
tree.
call a pickle.
And she's like, yeah, but I got this. Don't worry. I got this.
Oh no.
So her handle in town, right, is Mercedes Dawn because she's driving around in a chocolate 450 and got a condo.
Convertible?
Oh yeah, Florida.
Yeah.
But
Oh
she'll
my
keep the
god.
top down. It's going to mess up her hair. So let's be. It's just a look. It's just a look. And she said, "I got this. We'll figure it out. I'll live on the front lawn. I don't care. I want to be with you. Blah blah blah." And so we go. We make a go. We make a run, and we get married and the whole shebang. And we do the deal. And she gets pregnant, and carries a child to term. And we deliver a beautiful boy. And we name him after my cousin, who died. He was That's the tradition in Judaism. The
Mm-hmm.
firstborn named after the last dead. So
Mm-hmm.
we do that. Now he's got that legacy. I'm named after my uncle who had just died. And the phone rings, which I told her could happen at any time. And my first wife, her name's Pauline. She says, "Can you help? I need help. Can you take custody? Can we?" I sent Jonathan down, my oldest son. I said, "Get him, put him on a plane." So now she's 6 months pregnant and a stepmom to an 8-year-old son who she doesn't. Nobody knows each other.
Yeah, he
I'm
doesn't know you because you
I
were
don't
on the
know me.
street.
I don't
Yeah.
know me. I
Yeah.
don't know her except she kisses me like nobody else, and now she's pregnant, and I'm working like and this is our life, right? This is what we're making, and we're figuring it out. So we have an 8-year-old son and a newborn 3 months later, and we have a house full of noise and children, and have no clue on how to be a couple and no clue how to be people. We don't know shit except that what did John Lennon say? Love will save the day.
Yeah.
Something like
Yeah.
peace and dance. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
okay. And I'm in therapy, and she's just like nursing the baby, and she's just la 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 la. I'm like, I did this. This is a redo. This is. Don't be crazy, please. Don't be crazy. Oh, wait, she wants more kids, and I'm like, no, 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 no. I gotta finish grad school. I gotta this. So I'm enrolled. I'm working. I'm busting my ass. This is what I'm good at, right? Working and working hard, and get through grad school, get those credentials, and I start
By
like
God.
doing the deal. And they said, "Don't go in business. Don't go in business. Don't." I didn't listen to the relationship stuff because why would I do that? That's crazy.
I know
Life,
me. I know
yeah,
me. I know
life's too
me.
short to not get
Come on, man.
life's too short to not have sex. What are you out of your mind? And it's better to have steady sex than like go sport fucking all over the place because that shit's dangerous. Uh, Newcomers, they take you with them. So okay, I'm doing this, and I go back in business,
Doing
and then
what?
I start the counseling agency,
Okay.
and then I do a consulting job for this guy to get him a policy manual to open a treatment center.
Oh,
All right. And this, I say to him one day, I say, okay, I need you to fill this out and sign and give me your resume so I can submit the application. And he's like, what are you talking about? I said, what do you mean? What am I talking about? This is, you're the boss. You're the executive director. This is your title. Somebody's got it. He said, well, I don't know how to do that. I don't have a resume. All I did was get high. I said, well, who gave you the keys to this property? He says, well, some friend of my family, they said, here, how about it? He had been running a halfway house somehow and not undoing himself in recovery. And he wanted to make it. And I'm like,
yeah.
oh my God, this guy can't make a sentence, and he's going to run a treatment center.
But are people staying sober because they're with him?
Yeah. Well, they have a place
Yeah.
to live, but
Yeah.
despite him and despite their best efforts, they're still there. So I said, if he can do it, I can go. I can do that, right? So
Absolutely.
I go and buy an apartment building.
Hmm. How many?
Well, I don't.
How many apartments?
I don't have any money,
No,
but
but you bought it.
I negotiated a deal, and I gave him a down payment to hold it, and the bank wouldn't give me a mortgage on my house because I thought that's what you do. You get another mortgage, right? And they said,
Mm-hmm.
you don't make enough money. You can't get another mortgage. You can't even pay the one you got. I don't. How'd you get this mortgage anyway? Because we had lied with to get the mortgage. My father-in-law, and so he was an attorney, and obviously not one that played by the rules. So, okay, I'm fucked. I'm going to lose the deposit. And she's at these baby and me classes and
Uh
whining to
huh.
her girlfriends. And she comes home one day. She says, well, her husband's willing to sign the mortgage for you. I'm like, why would he do that? Why would he do? Well, he's a businessman. He knows real estate. And he knows he's not going to get hurt because it's real estate. What's the worst going to happen is and he
You
sells the
lose the
building.
building, he gets it.
He
Yeah.
gets his money back, right?
Yeah.
He does that. No paper, no contracts, no attorneys. He just goes to the bank, gives them the money, gets the mortgage. We get the building. I fill it up with 22 people. Then my father dies.
Mm.
I get this small inheritance. I buy him out. I leverage the building and buy another one. I leverage that and buy. And now I got like 50 beds I'm running. And this is Destination Recovery. This is Delray Beach, Florida. This is
What
where
year is this?
this is now 95.
And you're how old at that point?
I'm 8 years clean.
Okay.
I'm in my late 30s, early 40s. I've got 4 kids. No, 5. Because my first wife, decided to have a short term relationship, meaning ours, with another man while we were still legally married. And he never showed up. So I became the father of that child by default because we're not going to exclude that
No.
child. It's not
No.
her fault. So
Yeah.
now we have the Brady Bunch, right? There's 3 biological. There's one that's basically adopted for all intents, and then another biological with another wife. So there's 5 kids, and they all need braces. They all need cars. They all need insurance. They all have needs. That's what they need. Things. It's not there. So I'm figuring it out. So I got all these beds running. Got this aggravation of toilets and newcomers and drug and chasing cats because it's a crack epidemic.
Oh my God. Herding cats, man.
Oh man, racing people to the mailbox with a check. I mean, all kinds of stuff.
How are you staying sober? How are you doing it?
Meetings,
Meetings
and not using,
and
not using.
not
No
using.
matter what. No, that was the decision every morning. I don't care what happens. That's what they said to do. Make the same decision and follow through, right? Because that was the big issue in my life was being a quitter and a victim
Right.
of circumstance. So the shift in recovery was follow through, be a person of your word. This is before the 4 agreements and before all that news.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, follow the book. Do what they.
They're right there.
It's right there.
It's
So,
right
okay.
there. If anything, it'll get you through the day, man. Right?
And
I mean, it's a
it was,
baseline. That's where I stop my day is right here.
it was always
If I
a new day because when it got overwhelming today, I just stop and start a new one because I said you could do that.
You can do that. You can start over anytime you want, man. Like, oh, you know what? Fuck it.
Yeah.
That sucked. I'm going to start new today.
2 days.
Right now.
Come on, my clock. And so I
Yeah.
would do that very frequently, and I worked in agencies until I realized that the chip on my shoulder with authority was so heavy that I couldn't do it anymore.
Oh yeah.
They have rules
Yeah.
and rules that aren't written down that I would get held accountable to. And I said, "Well,
Hmm.
show me a book." And they said, "Well, it's just protocol." I said, "Whose
Who's
protocol?"
protocol?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
who are you to make that protocol? It seems to be wavy, kind of like and
Like the
subjective.
weave.
And I learned all these cool words and shit. And I'm like, oh, I got you. So I got out of that as soon as I could afford to, and started this website because the internet was like a Wild West show. Started buying domain names,
Yeah, you
started a
did.
website, started
Yeah, you
buying.
did.
I had a housing directory that morphed into a continuum of care directory. I'm in the advertising business before Google, and just killed because nobody knew anything. So we're making websites and we're doing this and we're doing that, and we got a staff of 12 people, and we got that and on and more. More is better. So there's like 6 corporations and there's all these checkbooks and all this headache, and I got this kid that's like, where's my dad? You know, my youngest. Where's my dad?
Hmm.
He knew where I was. He was easy. He was around. He grew up. He got conceived in a meeting and grew up in the meetings and grew up in 12 steps. Both his parents in recovery. He watched his siblings come undone and get better. And so I'm paying attention enough because she's not letting me parent him anyway because she's got him clutched to her bosom. And
Hmm.
I wouldn't have any more kids. 5 was like,
Hmm.
that's a whole
That's
handful.
enough.
That's a
Yeah.
handful, right? She's like,
Plenty.
I want a little girl. She wants a little doll, And I'm like, no, I don't think you find a new husband. She's like, I love you. Yeah, yeah, you don't love me because she helped anyway. This is going on, and there's tension building as he
Hmm.
gets more and more into no, and you're not, you're not the boss of me at 8, and I'm
Sort
like,
of a parallel between your childhood and his childhood.
yeah,
It's
but
like
no,
you're watching yours from the outside, this sort of like out of body almost.
a carbon copy. Now I have my oldest son who's already going through this with the police knocking on the door because he got some girl ecstasy and she overdoses.
Oh,
And they're like,
shit.
"Where'd you get it?" And he's, "Oh, he got it for me." So like, and I'm reliving all of this every day and
They come
juggling,
home to roost, man. Those chickens will fucking find you, dude.
just juggling all the time, and it's exhausting. And because I learned that word when I went to the first treatment center. This is a funny story. They give you a booklet, right, back in the '80s, and identify your goals. What the hell was that? So I wrote on it. I want to learn how to juggle because I wanted to go all the way to clown college, right? I want to learn how to juggle. I want to learn how to type because that seemed
Uh
like
huh.
a good idea because I was
It's a
told I
good
had a
skill.
good
Yeah.
writing. And I want to learn how to speak Spanish because I'm in South Florida and that's going to be a good thing to do. My father was in and out of Costa Rica because that's where he took and hid all the money, right? And
Oh, yep. Yep.
right? So this is a good skill set. These are good ideas, right? They look at this paper, they look at me, they look at the paper, they look at me, and I'm 10 days off methadone, and they look at me and they said, based on what you wrote here, the chances of you staying sober are like zero, zero. And I looked at him and I said, who the fuck, what do you know? What do you fucking know anything? And I grabbed my papers away, and I still have them on my shelf behind
Oh,
these.
amazing. Amazing.
And I said, watch me. You watch me, motherfucker. And I never looked back. And I left that place because I got a little inappropriate with some people. And they sent me to another one with locked doors because they were afraid. They had never
Mm.
seen they had never seen a heroin addict in South Florida. They were using
Mm.
cocaine and crack and
Yeah.
entitlement, and
Yeah.
I'm like a down and out on the
You were the
street.
disease from the big city, from up north, man.
And
Like a
jumped
zombie.
totally. And they're like, get away. And let me borrow that book. Let me borrow that book. No, you can't have that book. It's, that kind of crap. So this is going on with the kids, with the stressors in the marriage is struggling. Um, I sell this property I have 2016 because I'm cutting to a fast forward because the kids are going through school and they're graduating and going off to college and all these positive things are going on and we're managing but I'm not fulfilled and she's mothering all the time and chasing women around because I taught her the housing business so she had
Mm.
something to do. So she would get
Mm-hmm.
up every day and chase the women. She had like
Mm-hmm.
40 women, and she was really good at it because she was very maternal and it did well. She filled the beds up, she collected the money, and put it in the bank. I mean, she was really good at that part. Um, my son started at 12 and got captured by marijuana and other assorted drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the phone
This
started to
is your
ring.
youngest, right? The one.
The
Yeah.
one that we had together, my recovery
Yeah.
baby,
Yeah.
right? And the phone started to ring. Like that's what would be the phone would ring, and it would be something regarding he had done something, he had hurt somebody, he had gotten caught doing something, and it seemed to be one thing over the years after another. And in the treatment centers, because she threatened it with him once, and then so she had to follow through, and he just laughed. And that was the beginning of that journey of institutional shit. Then it was jail, and then it was treatment, then it was jail, and then the final treatment was really not about him because it was done. He was going to do what he was going to do. I mean, nobody would listen to me because I'm a doctor.
Right.
I do this for a
What do you
living.
know?
I
Yeah.
what
What do you know?
I lived. I only lived this life. What can? And he would look at me and yeah, 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 and then he would go to her because it was the proverbial splitting of the parents. And I would
Mm.
tell her, "This is what's happening. Are you going to continue? Are you married to me or are you married to him? What's the deal here?" And they confronted her in the treatment center because we went one more time. I got him out of jail to go to this treatment center, and for her, the treatment was for her,
Yeah.
not him. He was he knew.
He was a lost cause at that point.
Well, he was a low bar. He's not. He's
Yeah.
not. I wouldn't
Sure.
do gold
Fine.
for him.
Yeah. Low
I'd like.
bar. Yeah.
I'd like to see him live to be 25 because it was like already double digit interventions in. They're like, damn. I'm like, well, you don't know him apparently. So of course he steals and sabotages the treatment. She sues him again, and I'm done. I move out. 2016. I'm over it. I sell the last building, and where's the money? I said, I don't trust you. And she leaves me at the table and we separate. And so
Mm.
we go through this dance of separation and civility with each other. And he's in and out of wherever and whatever. And somehow we decide to cash in his college fund because if we didn't use it for college, we had to take it and make it liquid. So we got him a scooter, like those moped things
Mm-hmm.
because he's immobile. He has no license. I mean, big surprise. So he's scooting around for a week. And of course, it's brand new and there's something wrong. And he's visiting his mother at the house. And I won't let him in. I had not let him in for a long
Yeah.
time. He kept stealing
Of
and
course.
and getting exonerated. She wouldn't do anything except give him another hug and say, stop doing that, stuff like that. And I was like, I'm pressing charges. This is fucking crazy. He's never learning. So we would do this and he would just sit back, right? Because that's what the way that dynamic is with that situation. And I had lunch with him and then I saw him and then he went to see his mom apparently and she gave him money for a change and he got on the scooter and this is 2018 and he rides down the street with no eye protection and it's dusk and no helmet and he may has the thing in his ear, and no light on the front of it because it kept
Mm.
flickering and was and he gets of course he got hit by a car. Of
Yeah.
course he had a collision. Of course he got catapulted however many yards after the impact. And of
Jesus.
course he didn't die on the street because he wasn't meant to, because they were going to give us a chance to say goodbye. Right. So they scoop him up and bring him to the hospital and we get that last call. She got the call from the hospital. She asked me to come and pick her up. And
Yeah.
we knew. And we went and we sat. And 5 hours later, with no real sense of improvement on the horizon, we made a decision together to let him be at peace. And and they let him go, right? With a final injection because he kept having seizures.
Hmm.
Now I got a picture of this child with the thing coming out of his head and the tubes in his ass and the tubes in his side and this,
God.
I mean, just the most like a Tarantino, right? Because
Horrific.
we
Yeah.
had already done the overdoses in person. I'd already lived through that trauma of reviving him, and I'm like, there's another way to do this. You don't have to do life like this. There's another way. It doesn't have to be the way we do it. You could do it anyway, but the way you're doing it, because that ain't working. And 2018 April, we let him go, and now she plummets. She was already teetering, and she
Yeah.
plummets into daily suicidality. Like every day, she because she has her issues of which I don't know what they are, and she's trying to do her best to stay buoyant, and it isn't working. Um, and when we separated, we did some financial stuff. So she buys herself a Winnebago. Is that what they're called? One of those
Yeah.
driveaways,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
she's start running
An
around the
RV.
yeah, an RV, and this post COVID or COVID shit, and she's going to drive around the country doing karaoke because she's going to reincarnate Stevie Nicks and Landslide. That's her favorite song, and she plays the part. And it's always Halloween because that was her favorite holiday, and she's always
Yeah.
dressed up with bells and whistles and tassels and shit. And
Yeah.
a gorgeous, loving human being, and that's her idea. That's what she's going to do. And of course, she's expecting me to finance this, right? That
Oh God.
this is Florida divorce law, and that's the and you're a therapist and you make this much money, and so that's the battle now. That's now she decided to pick, and I'm like digging in. I'm like, no, I don't think so. That's not going to work for me, and so we're doing that, and she takes her maiden voyage in her RV. And she gets all the way to New York to a wedding. She gets to Asheville, North Carolina. 2022, she's on her way back to Florida where we're at, and she makes it to right outside Jacksonville on
Mm-hmm.
95, right outside Jacksonville. Something. I don't know. Still don't know because what happened was she pulled over, and before she exited the freaking thing that was on fire,
Oh Jesus.
it blew up.
Oh
It just
Jesus.
blew up. It blew up like that fucking thing on Lethal Weapon, right?
And she's in it.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, she's in it. And like what? I get that call from the officer, and it's dinner time, and I get this call. Can you help us identify a body? I'm like, what is this? I mean, usually you get like this is the IRS, some prank
Yeah.
call. No,
Yeah.
no, this is we need you to help. We need your help. You're her husband, right? You're so
Yeah.
and so. Yeah, yeah, because we were legally married.
Still, yeah, right.
And they sent me a picture of her bracelet.
Oh fuck.
That's all that's left.
Ah, my God.
That's all that's left is this bracelet that they picked out of the chart. And I was very happy they didn't send me any other pictures because that was just enough. And
How do you get through that? What do you
I,
do? I
I do what I'm doing right now, and I talk to anybody that will listen, and if the feelings come, I let them out,
Yeah.
and I don't use because that just puts a band-aid on things because that's not going to solve anything. It's only going to create more aggravation and problems and delay the real healing. And so my recovery family is though in the wind. My first wife's in the wind. Um, I've got my remaining surviving children. There's four, and I've got grandchildren, and
Oh, that's great.
and
Congratulations.
I've got a wonderful, healthy interaction with all of them. They have significant losses because they lost their mother and their stepmother and their brother. So we all kind of like are able to recognize this. My daughter's a clinician. My son's a pharmacist. They're all grad school. They listened. They listened. They were teachable. They loved their dad. They different role model than the women in their life, and um, they got it. They got it. So why would I want to undo that with my by getting high? I mean, there's no solution there.
Oh God, no. It will make everything worse. I
So that's
mean,
how you do it, right? You play that through, like they told us
that's
in
how
the
you
very
do
first.
it.
You wake up every day, you make the same decision that no matter what, you're not going to use, and that's what I do just for today, and
Just for
that's a
today,
life.
man.
That's a lifesaver. That's how I do it. And sometimes that day is 10 minutes. It's a 10-minute day.
Yeah. You get
So
sometimes you get a text with this bracelet from your dead wife, and that's your day.
that's it. So
I can
so
go one of two ways. I'm going to
uh,
choose this way.
this day was this day hasn't ended. It's Groundhog's Day when you're a grieving parent. It's always Groundhog's Day. It always is 10 minutes ago, and
Yeah.
sometimes that's even shorter. Like when one of my clients overdoses and dies because of this fentanyl that is occurring in everything. You buy marijuana, it's got fentanyl in it. You buy cocaine, it's got fentanyl in it. So this motherfucker, right? This 34-year-old silver spoon baby um, uh, relapses if he ever stopped using because he wasn't the most honest person I've had on my caseload. And he goes to detox because his girlfriend said that's a good idea. And so, yeah, and so they paved the way for him to go. And now his receptors are like clean, right? They're like clean like a baby. They're clean. So, in his beautifully honed addict mind, I'm good. I'm good.
I'm good to
I
go.
can, yeah, I'm good to go. Bye, bye, forever. So 7 o'clock Sunday morning. Today's Wednesday. Sunday, he's done. He's done. I get the call. He's done.
That's what
And
it's
then
like. That
and,
is,
and that's life showing up. That's life
yeah.
showing up. This isn't a cavity in my mouth. This is life showing up. And then all the healing I just did with my son to this point now just gets ripped off and starts all over again. Right? That's the way. That's the knowledge base and experience of a grieving parent. And it's like raw. And so the mom and dad come to my office and they, what should we do? I said, well, I would talk to anybody that will listen. When they say how you're doing, just tell them the truth.
Tell him. Tell
Tell them
him.
the truth, and they'll never ask you how you're doing again. When you when you're done that hour bleeding out, and you'll get a new friend group. Yeah,
You'll feel better, but you'll never see them again.
they'll never ask you. You'll see them at the gas station.
I didn't like him anyway.
You'll see
Fuck
them at
him.
the 7-Eleven. The clerk. How are you? This is so and so. Well, let me tell you. You sure you want that answer? Because that's the way. That's how you heal. Because what
It
did they
is.
tell us? Right? Pain shared, pain lessened. Pain
That's right,
shared,
man.
pain lessened. So I take that to heart literally. And if you ask me how I'm doing, I'm going to tell you. And if you try to walk away, I'm going to grab your arm and say, "Wait, I'm not done.
Yeah.
I'm, I'm not done." And well, what do you mean you're not done? Shut up. I'm like, I'm not shutting up. I'm not done. And sit the fuck down. Let me buy you a coffee. Let's
This is
get
going to
me.
take a minute.
Yeah, yeah. Dig in, dig in. I got a couple decades to let you know. And then,
Oh,
and then we all kind of like, have a smile and move on because the sun's coming up, right?
sun comes up, man. And through
And
all
the
that
bank,
heartache,
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. How much suffering? Suffering's a choice.
it
So,
is.
how much suffering do you want? And that's how much you have.
You suffer to a point and then you have to fucking laugh at some of it. Like, can
If
you
you don't,
believe this is what's happened in my life? And I'm still here. Like,
well, yeah, yeah. Right. And
why?
all the other people, they give up. They give up and they quit and they cut bait and run when there's a solution on the horizon. There's a solution out there they haven't found yet. It's there. They just haven't like a box. And you're a kid, you put your hand in a box and you kind of identify what it is. That's what life is like.
Yeah,
It's a mystery and it's always unfolding and it's just wonderful. Why would you want to give up?
I
And,
know. Life is wonderful. It's fucked up and it's tragic and it's hard. But
no,
man,
if it was easy, everybody would do it. There would never
yeah.
be suicides. Because I'm too afraid to kill. I'm too afraid to kill myself. I said, you're too afraid to live. You're not too. Anybody can kill themselves. That's easy.
Yeah,
That
living's
doesn't.
the hard part, man.
Yeah, living takes courage. It takes fortitude. It
Fucking
takes
A, man.
it
It
takes a will.
does.
Yeah, that's all. And once you get the hang of that, it's like surfing. It's like
This has been amazing, man. Thank you. Before we get out of here, tell us about what you're doing. Tell me about Sober Life
uh-huh.
and all that is available through that. I think people they need to know. So tell us.
So this is so I have this website, right? I created this directory called sober.com, and it was a full continuum of care. So when people needed to find something, they would go there and find it. And it ran its course in my life. And somebody offered to buy it. So I sold the website. And before I even took a breath, I decided to start soberlife.com. And I couldn't believe that it was available, but it was. And I didn't have to go chase somebody down and buy it from them. I did that with the trademark, but not with the domain name. So I have the trademark on Sober Life, and it's a lifestyle brand. We are aiming to be the authority of all things sober. So we just put an events calendar up. So if you have an event, we're going to let you put it up there to let everybody come and participate. We put a store locator up. So if there's a place that you want to have listed to where people can go and have non-alcoholic beverages, we want that to be on our site because addicts have a difficult time socializing. Um,
Absolutely.
that's the hardest thing that they do, and I don't know how to do
Hmm.
life without drugs. So we go and congregate, and so we want to make that available for people, and we're going to wash it down with Sober Life water, which will soon be available on Amazon. So you don't have to go to meetings; you just drink your recovery now. That's the joke, and because
Hey,
it just
whatever
think
works, man.
that what's that thing called liquid death? If you
Yeah,
can kill if you can kill your thirst, you can drink your recovery. That's
that's
the
right,
idea.
man.
That's the idea. So they started as a joke, right? That guy's just a prankster. He's just a freaking. He's a really brilliant, funny guy, and he's an artist and he's a creator and he's an advertising guy. And so when you see that and you say, "Oh yeah, well that's really me." So we're looking to destigmatize the conversation. We want to change the conversation. We want people to talk about recovery, talk about not choosing a different path. We're a wellness beverage. So that's the plan of using that as the anchoring. And we have on the site a rewards mechanism, which is soon going to be back to my original plan of contingency management. We're going to pay people to stay sober with cryptocurrency. So that's the big picture of like it's going into an exchange pretty soon where you can trade cryptocurrency, which is about problem solving. You got to get a
Hmm.
wallet. You got to learn something if you
Yeah.
want the reward. And addicts have a really short attention span. They have a real short attention span for learning how to solve problems. So,
Uh-huh.
but money is a big hook.
Oh
So
yeah, man.
there's money and there's sex. Those are your hooks for people's. So if we can get them both, you can buy sex with the money. There you go. Yeah,
Boom.
boom. You got both. Best of both worlds. So we can't put bare-breasted women on the site because the women tell me you can't exploit us anymore. And I'm like, yeah, but they do that all day, every day. I don't understand why we can't do it. Well, because you're supposed to be spiritual. I said, what's more spiritual than helping the world? What's more spiritual than that? So you know how we can justify anything, and
Oh, fuck,
I'm,
man.
I'm right there at the top of the
Yeah,
list.
you're
Right,
just
it's very spiritual. And we were going to change the world with water and cryptocurrency, and this contingency management model is it's a very proven clinical model that's effective to get people to change. And Gavin Newsom in California enacted it as a law. That's how
hmm.
positive it is. And they're paying meth addicts out there because it's so crazy they can't figure out a solution. They're paying people with a methamphetamine habits money, real hard dollars to report in with a clean drug screen. I kid you not. It's a law.
It
They make
works.
exactly. It works.
It works.
Solutions and working. That's a synonymous thing. So we know it works.
I
I'm
mean,
not.
if happiness isn't a motivation, then money's got to
No,
motivate you,
not
right?
dying is the motivation now. Not happiness is elusive, just like sadness. It comes and goes, right? But money is a constant. Breathing is a constant. And if you don't have that, what good is happiness anyway? So, I mean, like, if you're dead, okay. So the whole idea is to get them to hook into living and solving problems because that's what life is. It's just a challenge, and if you figure that out, it makes it much more fun. So it's like living in Netflix. That's what I say. It's life is like Netflix. You just if you can imagine it, it's there. It's going to happen. It's going to unfold in your movie or somebody else's movie. And that was a Chappelle bit that he did. You know, I'm in somebody else's dream. I'm in
Uh-huh.
somebody else's dream, or you're in my dream, but it's just a dream, and it's just great. It doesn't have to be a nightmare. It just that doesn't have to be. So that's what I'm up to. So it's sober, SOBR, life.com. And it's all there. and it's just like a saturation of we're making this happen. Now I'm going to be 70 years old in a week. Oh,
Shit.
near about a week, something like that, right? And I'm like, what the fuck? What am I thinking? Why don't I just go to the beach, right? And every time I go to the beach, I'm like, this is like I did this already. I've been here, done that. So okay, I already got a tan, and I've already seen enough like bare asses on the beach, and they come in all sizes and shapes and colors because this is South Florida and body
Yeah.
positive. And so okay, what else is left? So, let's start another project, right? It's just something. Wake up, have something to do, and
God bless you, man. You're out there doing it.
yeah, the people that don't do it, what do? They roll over and die.
That's it,
And
man.
and people my age,
They
my
do.
generation, their bodies are shutting down. They're
Yep.
getting cancer. They're still smoking cigarettes. They're vaping, and not take their health is deteriorating because of the damage they've done. They didn't stop, or that their genetics are bad, and I've got high blood pressure. That's about the extent of my dilemma, and
Really.
it's and chronic aches and pains of being old. But other than that, I'm a picture of health, right?
Ah.
I'm a big,
Well,
I'm,
thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate the time, man. That 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 is some story.
it's
I'm going to put all the links for Sober Life, Sober Network in when I post the podcast. I'll find links for you so people can have a look at that charming face of yours. And
that's well, that's very kind. Of you. Very, very kind. Right?
all right.
That's, what does that, right? That's the Botox. Just so you know, it's just
Ah, whatever it takes, man.
it's $300. That's what it takes.
All
Yep.
right. Thank you.
And that's great. So it's Jonas at sobernetwork.com. I'm easy to find.
That was Dr. J, Dr. Harold Jonas. And I really am just so happy to know him and to have this conversation with him. I think it's important work that he's out there doing. And he really is the godfather of modern sobriety with all of the technology that he's used, the websites, the apps, all of it. It's really fantastic stuff what he's done and continues to do. He's not slowing down. Um, Turned 70 the other day. Saw a picture of him surfing. How about that? All right, everybody. I am going to step aside now, and I want you all to go out there and be kind and loving to everybody. Be kind and loving to yourself. Give yourself a big hug because you deserve it. We all deserve it right now. A little extra kindness, okay? A little extra sugar on top. Please. I'll see you next time.